Happy Thursday, beautiful people. I hope you guys are well. Obviously, I am very, very sleepy, evidently so. I had, oops, I am very clumsy today. I had my cat's hair like stuck in my eye earlier, and so I almost didn't do a video today because for a minute there it was super swollen and sore, and I could barely open one eye, and I was contemplating what I'm gonna do today's video. I was like, am I gonna do the video like this the whole time, or am I gonna get like my blinder like Phoebe with the theatrics. I honestly didn't see that coming. I just realized my blinder is here. How did it end up here? This morning, like this. Man, okay. Yeah, so welcome to today's video. I am debating what to talk about, and while I was setting up my camera, I realized my calendar is right in front of me, and I have actually had a physical calendar just like this one for the last 5 years, actually for the last 6 years, since 2020. I remember my first calendar was gifted to me by the house agents, the property management people of where I used to live, and my previous apartment, or my previous neighborhood, actually my first apartment. 2020 again. I keep coming back to 2020 every single time, man. I feel like I'll write a book titled 2020. Bam bada boom. Okay, so before we even, well, let's talk about the calendar first before I go off a tangent. And I grew up in a household where my dad would circle certain dates on the calendar if one of us had a doctor's appointment or something. So the main calendar, we would have a main calendar in one hung in their bedroom, my parents' room, and we always had if it was something for everybody to know, it would be circled on the main calendar in the living room, and other things that were happening were plastered on the calendar in my parents' bedroom. And so I remember growing up with this thing where important things had to be scheduled on a calendar. And so I, got my first calendar in 2020, and I just started writing things. And at first it was oh, I need to write when I'm gonna pay my rent, maybe day 10. I need to write when I'm gonna, when I'm getting paid, or whenever I have a shoot coming up, I need to have it on my calendar. And this is my 2025 calendar with this is November, and this is all the meetings that I had. Didn't really have much because this was the month that I moved to Guangzhou. But when I look back, I have, I've always had a calendar with so many things on there. And so that was that became a thing for me. I guess I picked it up when I was, growing up, and how depending on how you were raised, you just kind of carry that forward. And so I've been carrying that for the last 6 years. And so as I was staring on my calendar, I realized that since 2020, 2021, every year I had a word, or maybe a phrase for my year. And then I also had a theme for each month, maybe a word or a phrase as well for each month. And sometimes I would break it down to every week, if the theme for January is build, what am I gonna do this week? What's gonna be my word for the week that helps me actually build? And I think I did that subconsciously. And then after years and years of personal development and a lot of books later and a lot of courses later, I guess I started being more intentional with it. At first my calendar was just to put down important appointments, and now it became this thing where I would track progress. And so at the end of every quarter, at first it was at the end of every year, I would just look through my calendar and be I can't believe I missed all these great things that happened. And so I think I've spoken about journaling in one of my videos, and now here we are about calendaring. And so when something was coming up, if I needed to know, oh, I want to hang out with so and so, oh, can I make it? Okay, I would put that down on my calendar. And so yeah, it became a thing. And the themes as well, now I try to reflect per quarter, what are my accomplishments. Sometimes I journal about them, well, per quarter I will sit down and like pen all that down, but overall, like having them on my calendar, you know, I remember one time I had a person, well, I had an accountability call. If you've been watching my videos, you probably know who Claudia is. I had a call with Claudia, and I remember thinking, oh, I haven't done what I said I would do, so I'm just not gonna show up for the call. So I didn't. And the next week when I showed up for the call, she was like, what happened last week? I said, oh, I forgot we had a call. She's like, liar. You have a calendar on your desk and you know that we have this call every week and it's right there on your calendar. So what's really going on? And I had to like be honest and say, actually, I hadn't done what I said I would do, and this being an accountability call, I didn't feel ready to show up. Anyway, that's just a bit about my calendar and my little themes. I was talking to my friend the other day, my amazing friend, and you know, she said to me, I like how you always have a theme for every month. And you know what? I like that too. I remember my word for November of last year was the Great Leap. Again, I just showed you guys my 2025 calendar right here, and I literally said the Great Leap, right? And that was the month that I was in Guangzhou for the last phase of Canton. Actually, you know what? Let's go back to October of last year. My phrase for the month was, for like building brick by brick. I don't know where that even came from. And all of these things that were here, sometimes I would even schedule rest like in here. If it's in here, then I'll get it done, all my calls, my Zoom calls, whatever. When I'm traveling, I would have all that penned out here. And this was the month that I went bungee jumping, and then I had my TEDx audition right here. So many things didn't work out, but the things that worked out, boy, they changed everything. I remember going to Shanghai, living in Nanjing, right, going to Shanghai for my TEDx audition, and then literally getting off stage, heading to the airport, taking off my suit. That changed taking off my suit, like changing into like yoga pants and a t-shirt, and then like flying to Shenzhen. And then I was there for a work trip for a whole week. And then after Shenzhen, I came to Guangzhou, and I remember visiting one of our colleagues at the time. Amazing time. And then going to my hotel here in Guangzhou, and then I think I rested on Saturday because I was on a Friday. I rested on a Saturday, and then on Saturday evening I went to get my Canton badge and figure out where the Canton Fair was happening. I knew about it. I wanted to go for it. I had said I would go for October Canton Fair last year, and boy, I did. And then the whole week Canton, I had a lot of shoots scheduled with different suppliers I wanted to meet. I'd been thinking about starting a business. I had no idea how to go about it, and it was during that trip that I decided, well, since I've been thinking about moving here, I might as well see some houses, meet some agents. And boy, by the time I left to fly back to Nanjing, hence the theme for November, the Great Leap. By the time I left to fly back to Nanjing, I had a signed house contract, and I had a notice from my previous landlord telling him I'll be leaving in about a week or 10 days. So I went back to Nanjing, packed up my entire life, my 9 years of life in China, and my cat, and I moved down south, and I never looked back. Maybe the story, maybe the lesson behind this is, maybe by being intentional about what you want to accomplish, it somehow meets you where you are. Or I don't want to say manifesting, because I feel like that is greatly misunderstood. And someone says, if I just do yoga every day and I sit in stillness and silence and chant Om, and then things are gonna happen. But I don't think that's it. I honestly haven't. I'm sure there is something I'm missing out, and obviously my brain is really exhausted. I probably should find a way. Come on, don't tell me the video is not recording. Yeah, okay, it's recording. I probably should find a way to do these videos earlier in the day, because every time I come back from studio, I am all talked out, and I keep hearing this voice in my head that won't shut up, and so I'm really exhausted. But anyway, maybe there's of course there's a correlation between writing down what you're gonna be intentional about, and then watching it happen or unfold. Honestly, I promised I was going somewhere with this, but I forgot where I was going. Anyway, let's take a big sip of water. Mm. I haven't been drinking as much water lately, but I figured if, well, I had a similar bottle when I was flying to Kenya, and it just fell down and I got back in studio and it cracked. It's really nice to finally have it replaced. It feels really good. It makes the water taste, no, it tastes the same. I was gonna say it tastes better, but no, it just tastes the same. It's just like fancy water. But yeah, maybe by penning down my thoughts and like writing, oh, I wanna go to the gym on this day, or I wanna journal on this day, I wanna do this on this day. Maybe having that out there, first of all, I believe it clears the space out of your mind. When you take it off your mind and onto paper, you're able to, am I able to make that happen, you know? I truly believe that, I don't know about you, but I feel I'm the kind of person who, I overestimate what I can get done in a day and underestimate what I can do in a year or 5. And so by having things down, I'm able to see, I'm not able to do 5 things today, but I can get 2 things done, you know? And I just realized now that we could actually talk about, there's this app, there's this futureme.org. It's a website where you can write your future self a letter. I used to do that a lot, and I would schedule them on my calendar. You know, I do have a digital calendar, don't get me wrong, but having it like on my desk, like right on my face, yeah, it's really hard to ignore something you put out there. And so with futureme.org, again, I went off a tangent. If you want to write your future self a letter, could be you a month from today, 10 years from today, 5 years from today. That's the best app. I guess we'll get onto that. We'll get to that on another video. Honestly, it's so hard to like sit down and do these videos, but the minute I sit and the first 1 minute goes by, then I'm good. The ideas, like I was just walking around my house thinking, oh my goodness, this yoga top, it literally has like my cat's hair everywhere. And you know, even my phone has my cat's hair, my eyes, my face, even though I just took a shower. Again, that's probably TMI. But the minute I sat down and I turned on my lights, I turned on my camera, then I start talking and it kind of starts flowing. So maybe by the time, I don't know, I'm not gonna think about day 100, day 29, I'm just gonna focus on today. Now I'm gonna go to bed right after this video. I will upload it when I wake up. I do have a Zoom call around 5 in the morning, which is in about 6-7 hours, so I'll be heading to bed soon. I just wanted to pop in, talk about my calendar-ing and how it has shifted my brain and changed my life. And I didn't even get into the nitty-gritties of it. But so far, I just wanted to actually show up today. I realized when I miss a day, it will just be easier to miss the next and the next. Because if I say, if I didn't do 15 minutes today, I'm just gonna do 30 minutes tomorrow. The pressure I felt when I didn't do a video on day 9, that was quite understandable on my end, where I wasn't able to do it that day. But before doing day 10's video, I was at the airport 2 days ago, and I was trying to get it done. At the same time, I'm like, I don't know if I can do this, because you know I gotta do this for 30 minutes, and you know my flight is gonna start boarding in like 5 minutes. I need to get this, I need to get this, whatever. Just doing it for the regular 10-15 minutes was really good. So I showed up today. I think that counts for something. At the same time, there's a voice in my head that says, what if no one is gonna watch this? Why do you even care? Because every day I turn on that camera, whether anybody's watching or not, I know that I showed up today, and that was the best I could have done. I'm learning so much about myself, and the whole point of doing these videos, besides learning the discipline of doing them and building the consistency, the posting muscle, and the long form content thingy, I'm also rediscovering parts of myself. For instance, I realized that every time I'm talking to a camera, like I'm always like looking around my fridge, my water dispenser, my aircon, like I'm always looking all over the place, anywhere but the camera. I didn't know that until I started doing these long form videos, because again, when I do 1 minute, I'm like using my front camera, I'm looking at myself and I'm thinking, I'm so pretty, you know, but this, I cannot see anything except when I glance at my watch. I don't know what the lesson is, but I'm so grateful, because I know a year from today, I will not say, I wish I started earlier. I'm gonna be so grateful that I started in April. I think the 26th of April, 2 weeks after I turned 28. I don't wanna turn 29 and wish, I wish I actually stuck to this. And so that's the only promise I'm making to myself, to keep showing up. and to say that out loud. So if there's something you've been wanting to do, that you've been holding on for way too long, I hope I inspire you to start showing up and start playing full out. And listen, sometimes showing up is just turning on your camera, sitting in silence, maybe even sipping your water, and just showing up. As always, I see you, I believe in you, and if no one has told you of late, I love you. Have a really, really good rest of your Thursday. Let's say happy Tuesday at the beginning of the video. Have a really good rest of your Thursday, and have a wonderful night or morning, or depending on when you see this. Mwah. Alrighty, my lovies. Bye-bye. Good job, baby. Mwah. All right. Well, I forgot to say, day 12 done. Day 12 of posting every single day on YouTube. And I'm realizing my front camera has got so much great, well, it has got a lot better audio. Maybe I'll be using my phone from today. Anyway, guys, day 12 done. Good job, me. All right. Bye, guys.